Thank you, Mr. Sabharwal. And thank you. It's an honor to be here at this convention. And it was also an honor to hear to Honourable Minister Mr. Gangwar. A very good morning to this August gathering and the leadership of the PhD Chamber and cpai, Mr. D.K. Agarwal, Mr. Ashok Agarwal, Mr. Sabharwal, and my fellow exchange CEOs, Mr. Chauhan, Mr. Limay, Mr. Reddy, Mr. Kumar, and all industry friends. I think the role of financial markets in building Atmanirbhar Bharat, a self-reliant, self-sustaining India, is at the core of our duty as loyal citizens of this country. It's something that till we don't believe in it, we will not be able to actually imbibe ourselves into it. So, it's obviously a very, very great initiative taken by Prime Minister Modi, and something that I look forward to taking ahead. For the last 25 years, having dedicated my time to understanding and building marketplaces across products, asset classes, and geographies, one of the most, evidently noticeable voids I feel in the market, not just within India, but globally, is spot commodities, trading of spot commodities. Yes, a lot of it happens at the OTC markets, but where is the exchange space for spot commodities? That's completely missing. Last several years, of course, I have spent a lot of time in researching and developing spot commodity markets. And with that experience, I can definitely, state a few very, very broad and, important aspects as to why it is so important for us to look at developing such a market, and what is it that's missing, what are the issues that we have in that whole void that is there. Because yes, we have developed a huge capital market, we have developed commodity markets on the derived spaces of futures, options, swaps, bringing in all those kind of products. But when it comes to actually trading the spot, we are not just nationally but internationally, it is just non-existent. There are bilateral markets, there are markets which are still working in very traditional, archaic manners. It is more trust-based, it is more a physical transaction that happens. There are too many intermediaries which are there. It's a fragmented market, thereby leading to a very wide prices, and also leading to distortion in terms of demand, supply, and skewing of prices, so which are unreliable. You cannot depend on which price should you really depend on. And when we go to create derivative markets for those spots which don't exist even on OTCs, or don't exist in I would say a more vibrant way on the OTC markets, they exist in very fragmented ways, we land up failing. But that's only because the spot market has not been developed. There's no pricing that is really coming through, which is efficient, which ensures that there's a reliability, there's a transparent mechanism in which it comes through. And that's where I think there's a huge lacuna which is there, where we need to look into and say, are we really wanting to develop something that is non-existent? Are we going to go beyond and ahead of just the regular? Yes, we did. We did about 25 years plus back, move from open outcry to, electronic markets. And we did try and say that, okay, let's try and, bridge those gaps of transparencies or inefficient pricing, or every state or every regional exchange having its own pricing, and create a national exchange. And that was a great idea. In fact, that's what got me into these markets, and that's what got me passionate about these markets. But over the years now is, where is the next step? Where are we really moving to? We really want to be self-reliant. I pick on, the great words just stated by Honourable Minister Mr. Gangwar, Mr. D.K. Agarwal and Ashok Agarwal also highlighted on the importance of why we need to reach the last mile. So what are we really talking? We're talking about creating a deeper and a wider market. We're talking about removing inefficiencies. And the biggest of all is, of course, creating a market which is not existing today. It is a market which is just not there. As how will we go beyond gold, silver, oil, or any of the large commodities? There are thousands of commodities that exist out there, and they are just used as consumables. They are not converted into investable assets. We are so far away from converting them into investable assets because we have to actually go out there, understand the nuances of each of those commodities, and convert them, bring them to the financial markets, expand this financial market, make the dream of the $5 trillion economy happen. And that is only going to happen when we are able to expand this market, bring in new markets, bring in new asset class, bring in new participants, make it more vibrant in terms of offering something different. So I think that's one of the key things that always comes to my mind when I think of making India self-reliant, having an Atmanirbhar Bharat. So yes, to achieve that goal, I think we have to think a little differently. We cannot continue to think linear. We cannot think of, yes, there are cost factors, and I 100% agree with Mr. Ashok Agarwal that the cost of trading within India is so huge. So that is why we need to have multiple marketplaces. We need to have more competition within marketplaces. We need to ensure that marketplaces have certain common products, but also have their own unique, offering to the market. Thereby, each marketplace has their own area to grow in, and we are also working together to build the whole ecosystem. So we don't work as independent entities, but we work across. Each marketplace works with the other one to ensure that we are complementing and supplementing and having, help the regulator, the government achieve what their goal is of creating a much larger market, a deeper market, definitely a more vibrant market, which is not fragmented, which has very efficient pricing to it, and we are able to reduce the intermediation that is existing today. So if we are able to do that, I think we will be able to really go a very long mile. When we look at, even a small example like demat accounts, yeah, we say that we have grown. Of course we have grown in terms of the value that gets traded. We have, grown in terms of probably, making ourselves more electronic. But I'm not sure whether we have really grown in reaching out to the last mile, person out there. Because if in 10 years' time, we have only been able to move from 1.5% of demat accounts to 3% demat accounts. And that too, we all know that these are just, demat accounts opened. They're not necessarily demat accounts that are active or are being actually traded on. So we are far away for a 1.4 billion population, close to that where we are reaching, and where our literacy rates, our entrepreneurship as individuals, our access to electronics, whether it's through even a simple device like a mobile, is very much there. So why are we not working on those lines? And I would urge my fellow, colleagues as well as industry participants to rethink on these lines, and we need to come back with a little different design. Stop thinking linear, stop thinking of creating another patch and trying to, say that, okay, there is this issue, we need to resolve this issue. No, we need to take probably 1 or 2 steps back and see what are we really building. 10 years down the line, what are we going to have out here? Because if we don't build it, somebody else out there, outside this country, is going to build it. So might as well we be the first and give it out and say globally, we are the ones who have influenced the markets and not the other way around. We have that opportunity to do that. We must, look at that particular aspect. And I think technology is the key. It is going to be, we have to understand whatever technologies we have used in the past is not the technology of the future. I don't see whether, we land up using, we don't land up introducing blockchains. And when I say that introducing blockchain does not mean introducing it into one module or one process of the whole gamut. I mean that changing the whole market structure with the help of the new technology. So we have to, just as, there's always been a resistance from moving from open outcry to electronic, the same way I'm sure there is a resistance of moving from electronic into the next way of technology. So which we will have to do. We will have to ensure that we do definitely look at that new scale of thinking, reimagining. And I don't know if I've run out of time, but I definitely want to say that we at MSC are looking at doing that, building back the currency markets. The point that Mr. Ashok Agarwal made on the foreign reserves. Yes, in the last 30 years, we're 100 times up. And that's a huge achievement. And that itself tells that we have the capacity. We need to look at our NRIs coming into this market. We need to look at opening up the markets. We need to look at how we tap it within the country and tap it outside. So we don't send our monies outside, but we are ensuring that we build big enough and we become benchmarks at a different level. So yes, so with this, I would like to conclude that we need to reimagine, recreate to be able to build a self-reliant India, Atmanirbhar Bharat. Jai Hind. Thank you.
Thank you.